What's going on, Jerome's? Happy Friday. Your Minnesota Vikings have two preseason games left. The second one is on Saturday evening. Historic US Bank Stadium. Ooh, the preseason home opener. So two preseason games left. A week and change left for guys to really make a push to the 53. And it's down the stretch they come. But we have 12 bold 53-man rooster predictions for the Vikings starting at 1. And we'll start back at 1. All right, so with Jaren Hall, he's my guy. I think that he's got some traits, but we haven't seen enough to say that there would be worry about waiving him and getting him onto the practice squad. I think that that's something that's the Vikings are considering right now. And most teams carry two quarterbacks on the 53. They save that roster spot, but even with changing of the rules of the third game day quarterback, I think that Jaren Hall, as of right now, I don't think there's any danger of him getting picked up. So I think the Vikings will take that chance where it could turn around. I mean, Jaren Hall may come in and play like Kyle Sluter in the final two preseason games, and the Vikings need to protect him. But as of right now, I think Jaren Hall ends up on the practice squad. That's not to say that he couldn't marinate into something a little bit better in the coming years, but we'll see. Next up, number 2, Ivan Pace Jr. starts week 1. Now, I don't even think this is a bold prediction. I think this is what is exactly what's going to happen. Now, a lot of people think that, okay, Awesome was dinged up, so Pace Jr. is going to start at that weak side spot. But I actually think he's going to start in the middle. I think that he is going to be the green dot guy. I think that he is going to be the straw that stirs the drink. I think that Flores is bold enough to be like, hey, he's playing the best, and he is going to play. I don't care if he's undrafted. I don't care if he's a rookie. I don't care this, that, or the other thing. A whole lot of stuff going on. But Pace Jr., it's not hype anymore. He has earned this spot. It was the league that done effed up not selecting him, and the Vikings greatly benefit. And he's going to be starting at middle linebacker week 1, and that means Jordan Hicks not on the team week 1. Now, this does not mean that Jordan Hicks is not a Viking this season. So what's very common is teams will release a veteran at 53-man roster cuts with the explicit wink nudge that he would be resigned after week 1. Now, the Vikings have done this a number of times over the last couple of years, notably with Brett Jones repeatedly. And what it does is the player is still wink nudge guaranteed a spot, but his full season salary is not guaranteed. So he misses one game check. And if you're on a 53-man roster, week 1, your entire salary for the season is fully guaranteed. But if you're not, it can go week to week. So it's a little bit of an accounting thing that teams do. Yes, it is a little bit dirty pool, but it is what it is. And I think they leverage Jordan Hicks into a pay cut as well as a non-guaranteed deal. And the road with Ivan Pace Jr. But they do bring Hicks back week 2, and he's still that the veteran stalwart backup behind Pace and Asamoah. Next up, a bold prediction number 4. Tristan Jackson makes the 53, and I was a little bit worried about my guy after the knee injury, but he's shown up and showed out. He's making great catches in red zone and one-on-one and all the drills, and I think that get him into the preseason games, and I think he's going to put on a show. So for our prediction right now, Jefferson, Addison, KJ, Tristan Jackson. N'Keal Harry is my 5th receiver. Now, the Vikings could carry 6 for sure, but it gets a little bit dicey, especially since we didn't mention Jalen Rager. We didn't mention Jalen Naylor. We didn't mention Brandon Powell. We didn't mention Thayer Thomas or Lucky Jackson or Blake Prohl. That's right. The Vikings are going to have to let go of a very talented receiver, or a couple of them. It's going to be rough, but I think Tristan Jackson, the pride of Syracuse, does make the 53. Next up, number 5. Kenny makes the 53 initially, but then is IR'd. So if you want to put a player on IR right now, they have to pass through waivers, right? And the whole thing about King Kenny, if he makes the 53 and then is placed on injured reserve, he can come back after 3 weeks. So I think that's the plan of action right now, where he's got a minor injury. It's been lingering last couple weeks. He hasn't been out there, but is it something that's going to be season ending? Probably not. But rolling with Madison, Chandler, McBride as your running back 3. Maybe Abram Smith makes the practice squad. Maybe the new guy, Dykes, makes the practice squad as well. He's not even on the list yet. But Kinkenny, they want him during the regular season. But if he's not good to go, they can save a practice squad spot by having him on the 53 and then placing him on IR. That way he doesn't have to pass through waivers, which I think a team would certainly claim him. Next up, number 6. There is one trade. I think the Vikings have such a surplus of talent at a couple positions that it does make sense. And wide receiver is one of them. Where, Jalen Reagor has had himself a fantastic camp, and he's got that first-round pedigree. Now, do the Vikings keep him? Possibly. Or do they believe in the skill of Tristan Jackson? Do they believe in the niche role of N'Keal Harry a little bit more? Is there a market for Jalen Reagor? Can the Vikings get rid of his $2.4 million base salary, which is fully guaranteed? It's possible. There's some teams that are some very wide receiver needy teams out there. And, the former first round pick that does carry some pedigree and cachet. Or you look at potentially guys like Andrew Booth Jr., the former second round pick. He had an interception against the Titans. Cool. The Vikings are backed up at edge rusher with Daniil, Davenport, Wanham, Patrick Jones, Andre Carr II, and Luigi Villain. Does a guy like Patrick Jones II, is he on the trade block? Or DJ Wanham in a contract year? Although I would like to keep both of them, obviously. Is there a spot where there is value? Is there a spot where Kwesi can recoup a mid to late round pick and alleviate some of the good problems to have where you have too many guys, too many talented players at one position? It's possible. Next up, prediction number 7. Vikings sign Dalton Risner, but it's after week 1, where I think the Vikings get a look at the Buccaneers. The Bucs defense is still pretty damn stout, but I think that they finally come to their senses and are like, we're just going to pay it. Where the Vikings interior offensive line, it could have some issues, but also it's like the Jordan Hicks thing. So if you sign Dalton Risner after week 1, his base salary for the season is not doesn't necessarily have to be guaranteed. It can go week to week, so then go from there. But I think Dalton Risner eventually ends up in purple. And the whole thing with Risner, if he's holding out for a better deal, that's fine. But eventually, once these games start happening, that's one less game check that he's going to get. So get your ass into a camp with the team. Next up, number 8. Vikings carry 6 edge rushers. So absent a trade, I think the Vikings find a way to keep 6 edge rushers on the 53 because I don't think that there's a single guy that you want to risk trying to get through waivers before you can protect them on the practice squad. So Daniil, Davenport, Wanham, Patrick Jones, Carter II, the UDFA that you pay $340K guaranteed for. He started on the pup, so maybe there wouldn't be as much demand as possibly. But also Luigi Villain has had himself a great camp, great first preseason game. But I think the Vikings, especially since Flores uses multiple edge rushers on the field, I think there's a way that they can justify that extra rooster spot on an extra edge rusher at this point. Next up, hot fire prediction number 9. Andrew Booth Jr. is waived. And part and parcel of that is Jalen Williams and Najee Thompson make the 53. So it does come down to a numbers game at cornerback where you got Blackman, you got Evans, you got Murphy Jr. Those 3 guys are locks, absolute locks. I think Joanne Williams has played himself onto the 53. I think Jalen Williams, the UDFA slot corner from in Indiana, I think that he has made a very good case to make this roster, and I think that he serves a purpose. Najee Thompson, I think he's going to make the 53 as a special teamer. So he's not necessarily a cornerback, but that would be 6. So the odd man out would be Andrew Booth Jr., and the only thing that could save him is if he gets his rear in gear for these last 2 games, as well as, yes, he is a second-round pick from last season. So, Kwesi is the GM. It'd be really embarrassing if you waived your second-round pick, who you traded up for last year, after his second camp. But it could be a spot where it is what it is, where you could trade Booth, potentially, or you could waive him trying to get him on to the practice squad. I think that he could potentially be claimed, but it's a gamble I think that they would be willing to take. Where would you? Who right now is playing better, Booth or Joanne Williams, Booth or Jalen Williams, Booth or Najee Thompson, etc. It's kind of an easy answer. Next up, number 11, safety Theo Jackson makes the 53. Where Theo has played great when given opportunity on defense. He's obviously a fantastic special teamer, and the Vikings are going to have a numbers crunch at safety as well, where generally teams keep 4 safeties. You can understand keeping 5 with Flores since he plays multiple safeties. Josh Metellus is basically a starter. So Harrison, Beasley, Metellus, you're not cutting Lewis Cine. So it comes down to Theo Jackson and Jay Ward. Now, carry on my Jay Ward son, I think has been great, but I think Theo Jackson has been better, where you take the risk of waiving Jay Ward to get him on the practice squad. I think that's fine, especially the way that Theo Jackson has played. So, yeah, respect there. And lastly, prediction number 12. 25% of the practice squad is not currently on the team. So you get 16 practice squad spots, which I think is one of the great things to come out of the Rona season, where you're able to elevate guys, you're able to keep guys in the sphere, you're able to keep guys in the building, more jobs, more players, more development. It makes sense. But there's such turnover on the practice squad. Plus, there's so many players that are going to be let go from 53-man rosters, and players don't automatically have to revert to your practice squad, where if the player or the agent sees a better opportunity on a different practice squad, they can go there. And I think the Vikings will certainly do that. I think that they'll tiptoe through the tulips and pick through guys who are let go from 53s and comprise a couple more bodies on the practice squad. Hopefully, a couple offensive linemen, maybe a kicker. I don't know. I don't know, man. But I think at least 4 of the 16 of the initial practice squad aren't currently on the team. But that's it. That's 12 bold 53-man rooster predictions, whatever. All the let us know your thoughts on our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo, as well as check out the store, purpleftw.net. But until next time, Skol, production value.